I think with Data, I've just been conceal, don't feel, like Prophetess Elsa says.
You've been frozening it.
Why don't you say freezing it? Not
Kind of makes sense now.
It's been 84 years. Hi,
Hi.
welcome back.
Thank you. I'm
After
excited
such a
to
long
be
time.
here.
After such a long time.
It's been a while.
It's been a very long time. We have had to reschedule this podcast many times.
Yeah.
Here we are. By the time you're watching this, our baby's probably going to be 11 months, and here we are
Wow.
talking about her birth story.
Wow.
So basically a year later. So I hope we remember everything and we don't forget anything.
I like your eyeshadow.
Do you know? Oh, thank you. Shout out to Alicia for this palette. It's the Huda palette. Would you like to share your rose and thorn of the week, buddy?
Cool. My rose is definitely shooting with you today.
Because I'm your
I've
rose.
missed this. A little bit of it feels like life how it used to be.
Because there's
before,
also
which is
no
nice.
baby here right now.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to this. I'm excited. Lots has happened in the last couple of months, especially with us, and
Should we share a little bit of what's been happening? Because
we can
haven't.
give an update. That's basically my rose, and my thorn.
Everything that's been going on. Same.
Just recently, things that have been going on. Yeah, maybe we'll cover it or touch on it later. Hasn't been the greatest of weeks for us, but we're here. We
Let's
thank God.
get it out of the way now. So
Okay, so
2 weeks ago.
yeah, so 2 weeks ago the accident.
Yeah.
So I think 3 weeks ago I was involved in an accident, unfortunately. So it wasn't a good time.
It wasn't a good time, my guy. You nearly die.
It
Thank
was.
God for his hand
I
of
thank
protection
God
over
for
you.
saving my life. Yeah,
And
it
for
wasn't,
saving the life of that irresponsible young drunk driver also.
Yeah, so I'm just grateful to be alive, and it's one of those unfortunate things, but I'm thankful at the end of the day. You know, people always say those things like material things can be replaced, but never your life. But I think it was just like literally a very sobering thing, as our good friend Joseph often says.
Always says.
Yeah, and life really is short. You never know that. But yeah, I'm just glad that my family wasn't in the car with me, and that I'm good. Car wasn't okay, but it's cool. God takes what the enemy meant for harm and he turns it for our good. So
Amen.
yeah, I'm good. And fast forwarding after that,
Like 2 weeks later.
yeah, the passing of my grandfather. So sure, I wasn't planning on talking about all of this stuff on our podcast, but
yeah.
hasn't been an ideal time. But again, just glad for the family support and for you, my pillar of strength, and just dealing with everything. Love my grandfather a lot. Amazing man, super close with him, and grateful for the time I got. And that most of all, he got to spend time with Talia, which was
His
fantastic.
Only great grandchild.
Yeah, his first great grandchild.
Sure. I think with Data, I've just been conceal, don't feel, like Prophetess Elsa says.
You've been frozening it.
Why don't you say freezing it? Not
Kind of makes sense now.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, so birth story. So the week prior to giving birth, you
Frozening.
frozening it. Are you tired of carrying cash? Want to send money easily, buy data deals, or even get a loan in a flash? Then MTN Momo is your game changer. MTN Momo is your all-in-one financial app with features like sending and receiving cash locally and internationally. Plus, pay bills, buy data for as low as 5 Rand for 1 gig, and get vouchers for all your favorite stores, all with zero fees. Need a quick loan? Momo sorts you out there too, with amounts starting from 250 Rand and growing as you build your Momo history. Running a business? Momo has got you covered with a business wallet for easy transactions and sub-wallets for managing your team. You can even get a POS device to accept tap-and-go payments with Zapper. Don't wait, download the MTN Momo app today and unlock a world of financial freedom. It's simple, secure, and puts the power right in your pocket. Search MTN Momo on the App Store or Google Play. The week prior to giving birth, you put in leave so that you and I could spend a little bit more time together because it was just going to be the two of us.
Yeah.
And what do you remember from then? Since it was like a year ago.
I actually remember like not being sure if I should keep that extra week until after baby came, but it made sense in our minds that it was awesome to have that 1 week knowing that, hey, this is literally the last time it's ever going to be just the two of us
Yeah.
before our beautiful baby girl came along. So I'm glad we got to do it.
Yeah.
And even if it was lazy days, chilling on the couch, feet up,
Yeah.
watching movies or series, and just enjoying the each other's company, I think it
Yeah.
was good. It was nice. Also, just not stressing about
Yeah.
work and other ththings, and just being present. I think,
Yeah.
especially now in retrospect, thinking about how busy life got.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We also had a two people braai,
Yeah.
which was pretty cool. And I
That
have a
was
photo
cute,
of
man.
it, where you made mocktails and we had a braai, and it was just
remember.
you and I and Ollie, and we were just chilling. And I think if there's one thing that I do regret is I wish I slept more. But because I had a lot of pelvic pain, it was very uncomfortable. Do you
Yeah.
remember towards the end for me to sit, to sleep, to stand? So, but it was a very good call on your side. And I would suggest that if you are in a position where you can put in that extra leave, to do that, because that was quite good.
Resident podcast guest.
Ollie. And then do you remember also the day before that I went in? So I had a scheduled C-section. It was what I wanted to do. The day before I went in for my C-section, we had both our parents here, our siblings, and my granny was here because my granny was staying
That was
with us.
nice.
And then we announced the name. And do you remember announcing the name and people were like, huh? Because only my sister knew the name at that point.
I think after we spelt it out, then
Yeah.
people were able to pronounce it
Yeah.
and say it. And immediately off the bat, everybody thought it was a very unique
Yes.
name. They loved it, which was great.
Yes.
And I think it really suits her
It
well.
suits her. It really suits her.
well. Are you going to say what I'm going to say about the
What?
nicknames?
What? Oh my gosh. So before you get
Yeah.
to nicknames, her name is and pronounced Talia Saraya Naidoo. Why are you looking at my
Talia
lips?
Saraya Naidoo.
Yes, and Talia means morning dew or dew from heaven.
And Saraya means Princess of God in Hebrew. Yeah.
And it's such beautiful names and it fits her so well. But to her nicknames,
The name we would have least expected, and literally everyone calls her
that.
Tululu. Church friends, family,
Tululu.
like everyone. Like
Everyone
it's
calls her Tululu.
Like Tululu. Like even us, did we start it?
Yes,
I don't know.
Tululu. And now we call her Lulu and Luls. And
You actually have a lot of nicknames for her,
but that's
which I
my
love.
thing. I have a lot of nicknames for people that are close to me. Like everyone has the
So
nickname.
literally, if you don't have a nickname for somebody, then
Yikes. Yeah, okay, so then the next morning, and you always say that you clearly remember being in the shower with me at 4 a.m. because we had to be at the hospital at 5.
yeah. So that morning it was surreal. We got up really early because we needed to be at the hospital quite early,
Yeah.
and I think it was 4 a.m. And just the thought that baby girl was going to be here in a matter of a few hours, and at that point in time she was still in your tummy, but like an hour or two later she was going to be out of there. It was like, whoa. And at that point she was still kicking and moving
Yeah.
around, and we
Yeah.
could feel it, it was
Yeah.
I think also as soon to be parents, being in that unknown territory, you're excited but you're also slightly nervous.
Yeah.
You don't know what to expect,
Yeah.
and you're just going through. But I'm grateful because the day really went.
It was so smooth.
Went amazing.
One of the things that I really held very close to my heart, and if you watched the previous episodes, Kumo told me about this. She said the one piece of advice that I can give you is pray for the day of delivery.
That's so good.
Pray
That's
for
so
the
good.
hospital, the equipment, the nurse, the doctors, all those things. And that's something that we really did. And even driving to the hospital in the morning, we had worship playing. We were speaking life over the situation.
Yeah.
We were praying. And you and I chose not to have anyone come there in the morning because it was a C-section. So I didn't know what I was going to be like after giving birth.
The effects of the medicine.
The meds and stuff.
Yeah.
So when we got there, I remember I went to the room, I got changed, and they put a drip in my arm. And if you're watching the video podcast, they put it like where my thumb is, that vein there, which was weird because usually drips go like on the top or like in a proper vein. So for me, honestly speaking, that was the most painful part of the whole process.
Wow.
So while
Wow.
I was up there in that room, and they also, what is that thing called? Non-stress test,
Oh, yes.
where they
the
put those straps on your belly to
Mm.
check the baby's heartbeat.
Yeah.
So I was doing all of that. What were you doing? Because you weren't with me.
I'm just thinking about the selfie that we took. You were on the bed
It
in the
was
outfit. I
just
think I
going
had the outfit
in
on
theatre,
that I needed to
yeah.
put on. Do you have that?
I have all of that.
Do you want to share that
Yeah,
picture?
we'll put
That would
it-
be cool. That
We'll
would be
put it
cool.
here. We'll put it here.
That would be cool. Yeah.
So when I was doing the non-stress test and stuff, I even took a selfie because that was my last time being
Wasn't I
Selina.
with you in the room, chilling on
You
the
were
side?
still
with the
filling
mom?
out forms and stuff before you came up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It just went so quickly.
It
It literally
really did.
went so quickly. And what I liked was that the staff was super friendly. They helped you every step of the way.
Yeah.
It was easy. It was quick.
The lady that actually did my initial drip, we were talking about
Oh,
Jesus.
I remember this.
We were speaking about the Lord, and I was telling her that I'm not nervous. God
Yeah.
has me. And she also she said a scripture to me. I can't remember what it was now. I wish I did. But yeah, she was really nice to me. And then you came up, and then they wheeled me down
Yeah.
to theater.
I was nervous, eh?
You didn't look nervous.
I was about to ask if I looked
You did
nervous.
not look
I think the
nervous.
thought of like knowing like the operation and everything that was coming, and you know how I am. You always talk about that one story when you got your wisdom teeth
Oh
removed.
my word! So when I got my wisdom teeth removed, when I came out of theater and I was in,
I can't see you
the
in
room,
pain, or I can't see you panicking, or
Excuse
I
me.
can't see you
I threw up,
uncomfortable.
but TMI, I threw up blood because they were obviously working in my mouth, so everything went down. And I threw up blood, and Trevino panicked, and your face, and I've never seen you like that before, and you just panicked. So you didn't look nervous at all, though.
Yeah, I tried to be prayed up. I tried to be calm in the situation because, yeah, I just remember them wheeling you in there
Yeah.
and then getting on the bed and the
And anesthetist, how do you say it? Joseph says no.
insert here.
Anesthetist, I think. The anesthesiologist. Whatever it is, the person who administered
Yeah.
and what I learned was there's a difference between an epidural and a spinal block. And I had a
And you were
spinal
wearing
block.
an outfit and it was like boom.
I wasn't wearing an outfit, I was butt naked.
You were like, it was like butt out, back out, and I'm like, here's this young
And it was a
dude
guy,
coming
even.
over to give you an injection. I'm like, this is uncomfortable. And the guy's still like, oh no. Wait, what?
He said bend over. 'cause
No.
He said bend over because your spine has to curve so that your vertebrae can open.
Yeah, but he
so
wasn't
they-
like, boom, bend over. No, it was like, I think he was sitting and then he was like slightly move forward or
bend over.
yeah, but he was explaining.
Yeah.
The
He was
process
really good.
was really chill, really good. Like it actually wasn't uncomfortable.
Yeah.
He was explaining like about the number
I
of
thought it would be
people.
uncomfortable because
No,
it was
it
a guy
wasn't,
and
though.
I
It
was
was very
butt
chill.
naked. But I think of all the people that were in that room,
Yeah.
he was the one medical staff person that made me feel more comfortable because he
very
was
chill,
talking to
very
us.
calm.
And I even said, is it fine if we pray before you do this? And he said, sure. He stepped to the side. Then you and I prayed again.
Ooh, when those meds were kicking in, I think the thing that
This happened to me.
freaked me out a little bit was that you had like
I was
shivers.
shivering.
You were
yeah.
shivering a
But
lot.
I couldn't feel. I wasn't cold.
Yeah,
Just my
and you
body
were
was
talking
like,
to me. You were literally shivering quite a bit, and I'm like, "Is this normal? What's going on?" And I really felt like I was sad, looking at you, and I was a bit like,
Really?
"Yeah, of course."
I didn't know
And I was a
that.
bit concerned as well. I'm like, tried to be there for you, but I'm like, what's
Did you
going
think I
on?
was
Why
going to
is he-
die at any point?
Why are you laughing as you're asking such a
know.
serious question?
I don't know.
No,
Man of faith, man of God.
Selina.
So at this point, Trevino is standing on my right. The injection man is standing on the left. And there's a huge blue sheet up.
Yeah.
And there's a huge light above me. And my cousin that gave birth a few months before me said, don't look up into the light because the light has little like rings around it.
Yeah,
And it's
metal
reflective. So
rings
you
and
can see what's
see.
happening there. And I looked and it looked slimy and weird.
Yeah.
And I couldn't feel anything. I know some people say they can feel like the tugging things. I couldn't feel anything.
But literally, can we talk about how quick it went from the time the doctor entered the room
Yeah.
until like it was baby out and then zoop.
Yeah.
It
was really
20
quick,
minutes,
20 minutes
25 minutes.
probably.
I was like, whoa, this is
Probably
quick.
20
Literally,
minutes.
like, okay, we're cutting you now. Cool. A few minutes later, you hear a
Did she
cry.
say that? Because I never heard that.
Something to that effect, yes.
I
Okay,
never
we're
heard that.
cutting you
The
now.
only person
We're
that
cutting.
kept speaking to me was the injection uncle and and the nurses.
Yeah.
I feel like the doctor,
Super quick.
the pediatrician, none of them spoke to me.
Yeah, I
Did
don't
you
know.
see anything happening there?
I tried to not look, but I think I caught a glance maybe twice.
And then?
Once or twice. I couldn't see much.
Did you feel faint?
No, not really. Not really. I
Did you feel
think
like you were gonna throw up?
things got real for me when I heard baby cry.
Trevino cried.
Guys, I'm just gonna put it out there. I wailed
Trevino cried.
a lot, and it was a good feeling.
Yeah.
But it was something also that was very overwhelming in a good way. Just like literally seeing your child
Yeah.
and hearing her cry for the first time. And
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
for it.
Just to go back, because I know I did mention in previous episodes that I was scared of the catheter. They only put the catheter in once I had the spinal block done
you were
already,
so
so I couldn't
concerned
feel
about that.
anything.
Yeah.
Do you know what that thing looks like and where it goes?
We've spoken about this.
So they put the catheter in after the spinal block, and then they got me ready, prepped for the C-section. The gynae came and everyone was there. So they take Talia out, and Trevino is crying. And this is one of the things that I don't like about the birth, but it is what it is, and it's happened. I feel like because of the meds, I didn't have the reaction that I expected to have. Like, I looked at her and I was just looking at her and saying, my baby, my baby.
Yeah.
Look at her eyes, they're so light, and saying that I love you. But I feel like I expected more of an emotional
Sure.
reaction. But I think because of the meds and the spinal block and everything
Yeah,
that was
you
going
did
on,
mention.
I think that it was just, I wasn't really like
Also,
present.
beside the meds, think of it's a huge operation you're undergoing. It's a lot in terms of your body, physically, your mind, and it's a lot. So don't be hard
Yeah.
on yourself in
Thank
that
you.
regard.
And then, so they bundled her up, they gave her to me, and then they took her away to the side. Now, everyone that I've spoken to, they've had different experiences.
Yeah.
But Talia was with me the whole time. They took
Yeah.
her to the side. The
So I was
pediatrician,
standing by the
you got
side.
videos of the
Yeah, but
pediatrician
as
checking
soon
her.
as she came out, they like showed her to me and you.
Oh,
and
no,
then
wait. Yeah, they lifted her up and then they took her.
They literally handed her over to the other doctor.
The pedia.
Yeah, and the Pete took her to the scale, and I walked with him.
Okay, so
Yes.
they did a Simba.
Yeah, they did a Lion King.
Yeah, then
and
they
then
took
they took her over.
And
yeah.
then they brought her to me when she was done.
After the Pete to me,
Yes.
and then to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I still have the videos on my phone.
And they were still like stitching me up while all of this was happening. I feel like you never left.
They were.
You
I
were
was
always
the
there
whole
though
time.
by
Yeah.
me. So
I
how
was
did
there.
you go?
No, I did step away there to watch
Interesting.
as they were checking up baby. Yeah.
And then like in a matter of minutes, it was done. She was on me and they were wheeling us to a room.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Literally.
That was it.
So quick.
Praise God for a smooth delivery. I'm so
Amen.
thankful that was my experience. Then they sent us to a different section of the hospital, and it was
Fancy rooms.
It was just the three of us. No, the first room that they sent us to upstairs while ours was being prepared. So it was just the three of us. We both did skin to skin with her.
Which was
And
amazing.
it was so special.
It
And I
really
was
was.
still there with my camera getting photos of you and Talia because I wanted to capture those moments.
Yeah.
And I think once the
She was so
meds
she
start
was so
wearing
tiny
off. She
as
was
well.
so tiny.
Yeah.
Once the meds started wearing off, that's when I started crying more and looking at her and just thanking God for her. And then I started feeling a little bit more like myself
Yeah.
when we went to the upstairs room.
Such a surreal experience.
What do you remember from upstairs?
I remember her just being so small. I remember, and it's funny because as small as she was, there was still that connection. Like she'd look at us and, those little eyes. And
The one thing about Talia was that she was awake a lot. Even
was
in
awake a lot.
in her newborn shoot, the photographer kept trying to make her sleep to
And
get
she-
the
and she
shots.
was just so alert and awake and looking and
in
making
some of
eye
her photos, her
contact.
eyes are like half
Yeah.
open because she was awake. She didn't want to sleep.
Yeah.
And so you did skin to skin. I did skin to skin. I was on a hospital bed at this point, still had the catheter in, still had drips.
And I also remember that it's so true what people say that instincts do kick in. And
Yes,
yeah, it's
yes,
so
yes.
true in a sense of it's your baby, even if it's your first baby, like you'll know what to do or you just end up doing it. Like for me, carrying other people's babies and stuff, it always like, gonna break
The baby
it.
is so tiny.
What's going
Yeah,
on? The
yeah.
baby's small. But with Talia, like I was shocked at
Yes.
myself, like
Yeah.
with changing diapers, with
Diapers.
carrying her, with
So
just
you
moving her
obviously
around.
had to change a lot of diapers in the
Yes.
beginning, and you still do to this day, but more because I was in bed and I couldn't
Yeah.
move.
Yeah.
And my only job was breastfeed and off.
Mm-hmm.
And so a few hours after the C-section, the nurse came and said we're removing the catheter, but I was still a little bit numb, so I couldn't feel anything.
Yeah.
Oh no, actually I did feel.
Was that at the point where she was trying to latch, or we were trying to
No.
breastfeed? No.
We were breastfeeding
Okay.
in between. But when the nurse came to take the catheter out, she took it out and I'm like, that's it. That's it. So it's a little bit awkward saying this because there's two men in this room, but it felt like a tampon coming out. But it's still because I had a lot of meds in my body. And then the nurse said, you're going to walk now. So I think it
Dad
was...
of two, dad of one. We're all good.
It was like maybe like 6 or 7 hours after the C-section, they
Yeah.
made me walk again. And that's to prevent blood clots,
And
I
you
think.
were walking okay. It wasn't
Yeah.
bad. Yeah.
It wasn't bad. The thing that was a little bit difficult was sitting on the toilet because
Okay.
now you have stitches and then you're like bending. I remember holding the wall or holding your hands to try and
The
sit.
thing people say about not laughing too hard, was that hard for you?
And why
or-
were you so funny?
I
Why
it
were
just-
you the funniest you've ever been in your life? When I have stitches from being
You did
sliced
tell me
open.
this. You did tell me this.
I remember they said put a cushion there, like on your tummy when you laugh. Why? Why? It's not funny. It's not funny. Funny things were only happening when
And
I
you were
wasn't
laughing.
supposed.
You were laughing so much. It was good times.
It was good times.
good times.
It felt kind of like a hotel because of the way the room was set
Yeah,
up.
the rooms were
but then
really nice.
obviously you have a baby and you're recovering. But it was pretty chill. The food
and
was
the sisters were amazing.
they
Oh,
really were.
really
The nurses, there was one specifically
Yeah.
that we really
Connected with.
She was good. The one thing that I want to add about the toilet, whether you actually don't. I didn't, number 2. And I think
that normal? Like-
Yeah, they don't. You need to make a number 2 before you leave the hospital.
Oh, okay.
But even like peeing or even
Then I also have to
Gas.
make a number 2 before leaving the hospital.
Trevino,
Before they allow us to go home.
like even peeing or passing gas, it feels painful.
Yeah.
And I remember asking the doctor why, and she said it's because everything is moving back into place.
Oh, wow.
In your stomach, so yeah, all your organs and stuff are going back into position. So that's why
Sure.
it felt weird to pee. Passing gas was weird.
But
It
how
was just-
much more amazing is the experience and surreal when you live through it and you're like, wow, the body was made to do this.
Sure.
Like,
Way
it's,
God
it's-
created
and
us,
how
man.
smart are babies as well.
Yeah, and how amazing is God as well.
Amazing.
So they were preparing our room in this other part of the hospital and we were in a separate part. And then eventually they took us to the next room.
Yeah.
And I remember they put me on a wheelchair.
Where we
and
stayed for 3
yeah,
nights, 2 nights?
Talia was like in a little Tupperware thing.
Yeah,
It was
we
like
still call it a Tupperware, a little plastic
yeah,
Tupperware.
she was like in a plastic, not like an incubator, like a bed
Yeah.
thing that she slept in. And the second room that we went to, it wasn't a hospital bed. It was like a regular bed.
Yeah.
So that was a bit hard to get on and off. I remember always calling you and I had to hold both your hands and lift because
Yeah.
you can't
I
really
do
lift from
recall.
your core. So I had to.
But recovery was, do you feel like recovery was okay overall, or you struggled quite a bit?
I think it was pretty okay. Like physically, it was fine.
Was it hard
Emotionally,
for
not so
you
much.
because knowing you, like, the
Doing-
type of person you are, loving to do everything for yourself, not wanting to depend too much on people? Yes, there's certain things you ask me for and I love helping you, but you on the go, you're on the ball. How
Yeah.
was that for you?
When it was just you and I alone, it was fine because then I could like say, I need to go pee. Can you please help me get up and
Yeah.
sit on the toilet and stuff like that? But at some point also, I feel like when you are a mother, it's not about you. So
Sure.
even though it was painful, I needed to do what I needed to do because my child needed me.
Got you.
So I feel like at some point you just take the back seat, which may not be the best approach, but
mature
also
thing.
she was just born. She's a newborn baby. Obviously,
Definitely.
it's not about me. It's about her.
Definitely.
Like physically, I had to do what I had to do. Emotionally, it was a little bit tough with certain things. But yeah, one of the things that was hard for me was because I don't think my milk was fully in as yet. I think it does take like 3 to 4 days to come in. And this was sad, man, where they kept coming to check her sugar. Do you remember?
Oh, man.
And they kept pricking her foot. But she
Yo.
didn't cry, which
Yo.
even was even more painful because I'm like, she's such a tiny little
wasn't
baby,
nice
like
seeing that
a
little
few
drop or two
hours
drops
old.
and-
And they
yeah.
kept coming to prick her foot
Oh,
to
man.
check because I wasn't giving her enough milk and we were supplementing with formula.
Sure.
But to check if her blood sugar
Wasn't a
levels
good
that
time.
wasn't nice.
Like, even like all the time, did she not cry on the last couple of times?
I think the last couple
I
of
think the
times
last
she
day or
cried.
so maybe
yeah,
she did,
'cause
yeah.
she was over it.
Yeah.
And even looking at her going through that with such grace, when they came to give me those injections, so I had to get an injection for 10 days
I had to also give you an injection.
in my belly, like under my belly button,
Yeah.
to prevent blood clots.
I was Mr. Injection Man.
In Mr. Injection, uncle. So when the nurse first came, I'm like, I don't want it. And she's like, you have to have it. And I said,
Yeah.
I don't want it. And then I was just like, you know what? Stop being a baby. Your child, literally, they come every 1.5 hours or whatever it was to prick her foot and check if her blood sugar levels are fine. Just do it. Grow up
Yeah.
at some point and
It
do it.
wasn't bad after day one. You were
No.
like day
But what I
two.
was nervous about was when we came home, you had to do it for me for like
Yeah.
7 more days.
But after the first day or so, you came around and I was gentle.
Yeah, it was good.
It wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad. Like towards the end, I'm just like,
Apparently, people who have diabetes have to take
Yeah,
is it the same thing or similar?
it's the same size
Okay.
needle. Remember, Aya stayed with us.
Yeah.
And she looked at it. She's like, you'll be fine. It's the same needle. I inject myself with. And I'm like, I can't do that, Aya. I'm a baby.
That's fine.
So yeah, that's what's happening. And then we also had visitors come over the first day. I think the afternoon slot, we had your family. Just yawn. Just yawn.
I'm trying to like.
I don't like it
It's
when
done.
people hold in
Is
a
it?
yawn. It's so funny. So the afternoon slot, we had your family come in, your parents, your granny, your brother. And then in the evening slot, my family came in. And do we want to talk about what happened that first night?
Not really. I can't remember.
Oh, you don't remember?
In terms of at the hospital
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
before coming home?
With me.
If you'd like to share, why not?
So, when Talia was born, obviously I was awake from like
Yeah.
before 4 a.m. because we had to be at the hospital. My problem was I didn't eat, which is,
You weren't eating.
in my mind, I'm like, I'm not hungry, I'm fine. But also I was sliced open.
And you were
under
on
meds, lots of meds. There was a lot going on. I was breastfeeding for the first time.
We
My
weren't
body,
sleeping well.
we didn't sleep that whole day she was born. We didn't sleep. And
The first night or second night with her, the adjusting wasn't
Yeah.
great with her crying a lot. So
Yeah.
we weren't sleeping and yeah.
it was the first time we didn't know
Yeah.
what to do. I wasn't eating. And the doctor told us the next day, you were supposed to let the nurses take her. But obviously, first time parents were like, I don't want anyone to take my baby.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't feel.
And we were supposed to like take shifts with sleeping.
And everybody gives you this advice and you take it for granted. When they sleep, you sleep. You're like, yeah, we didn't take them seriously.
Yeah.
Because understanding the value and the importance of
Was
sleep
rest.
and rest
My
when
body
baby's
needs
resting.
to rest.
Yeah, especially like that.
Yeah.
With you not eating
Yeah.
and going through everything you're going through. Sure.
So eventually, when Talia fell asleep, it was about 4 or 5 in the morning the
Yeah.
next day.
Sure.
And that's when we also fell asleep. And then when I woke up,
You were crashing, basically.
yeah, but I like had a brief moment where I lost my memory. I don't know if I want to say lost my memory, but like
You blanked out almost.
Yeah.
You blanked out. I
Like-
don't know what's the word for it, but
fully, because I saw this baby in a little Tupperware there, and it was very confusing. I was very confused and disoriented.
Yeah.
And I looked at
Disorientated,
you,
yeah.
and I
You
think
re-
it
you
took me a
remembered me in
while.
that moment, yeah?
I remembered you.
Yeah.
It took me a while, and I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then you ran out and you called the nurses.
like I honestly still now get some goosebumps thinking about it. In that moment, I think that's one of the scariest moments in my life. And I just immediately was like, okay, faith, prayer, like get help. And then I immediately started praying for you out loud, and I prayed for you because it was like you were telling me, like, and it was scary. You were like, babe, what's going on? Like, I don't remember what's going on. And do you remember, or is it a bit of a blur?
I remember saying I don't remember. One of the things that was irritating for me is that the nurses kept saying it's fine. This happens. I'm like, what is fine? What happens? I don't
Yeah.
know what's going on. There's a
Maybe
baby.
someone
I'm in
else has
hospital.
experienced
What
this
is
and they
going
can
on?
share some
I think it
light
was
on
because
or-
of the meds and not eating and
not
not
sleeping.
resting. Yeah, but it was scary. And eventually everything slowly started coming back very,
Yeah,
very slowly.
Thank God for that. And we prayed immediately, and
We phoned Joseph afterwards.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Do you remember? We phoned Joseph. Joseph prayed with us. I felt bad afterwards though, because I'm like, what type of mother forgets her child?
yeah. But it wasn't you. It wasn't something that was your
I
fault.
laugh in emotional moments.
It wasn't something on you. I think it was just us being new parents, but also we had each other's backs and we were there. And we got amazing help from the doctor, from
Yeah.
the help from the nurses, like everybody there. And I'm just glad like it was a very short while and things were well after that. But intense times and not many people know that. So yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we even told anyone except Joseph
There was
and
maybe
Kumo.
one or two people that knew, like not a lot of people.
Yeah.
We
We didn't
actually
tell
did
our
share.
parents until like a month or two later
I think
either.
we did share eventually, shortly
Yeah.
after, yeah.
But when it happened, we didn't tell anyone except Sash and Tanita and Joseph and Kumo. No one
Yeah.
else knew. And yeah, so after that happened, and thank you, I love you. After that happened, we let the one specific nurse that we really liked.
Yeah.
We let her take
I
baby.
think at that point also, because we were struggling with Talia not sleeping, and even the thing of, remember, like when she was in the room with us, she would cry, and they told us the thing of, and I didn't know this, babies actually feel the anxiousness of their mom, or what their
Oh, I
moms feel
remember
and what their
that.
moms
I
go
remember
through.
that.
So if you were basically having feelings of, I don't know how to describe it, but those feelings of not being okay, of being concerned, of anxiety, if you could call
Yeah.
it that or whatever, then
Stressed out,
it projects,
yeah.
they feel that as well.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't believe it. We were doing everything to the best of our ability,
Yeah.
and she wouldn't sleep. And then the nurses literally moved her to
And
the
she
reception
was-
area where she was sitting, and she was quiet and sleeping.
Yeah.
We were like, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And we managed to get
It was
good
hard,
sleep.
eh?
It was tough those first few nights, and then it got better, a lot better quickly. But yeah, it was a strange time, and we learned a lot as well. And
Wow. And then so that day we decided that we weren't going to have any visitors because
Yeah.
we needed to rest.
it got a lot better when when you had rest,
Yeah.
when you were eating, when we took the doctor's advice seriously.
Yeah. And they also gave me tablets to increase milk production, which I stopped. Are you yawning again?
Half a yawn. Next time, if I feel it, I'll try go for a full yawn.
Next, yeah. So are these all my questions? That can't be right. So it was tough in the beginning. When we came home, driving home was fine. We prayed. Obviously, I was a little bit nervous being in a car with the baby. How did you feel driving, by the way, with the baby for the first time?
For the first time, it did feel like super. What's the word? Like trying to be
R.I.P. to our
cautious.
car that brought our baby home, man.
God has better in store. But yeah, I remember just like trying to be extra cautious, and I think it got better after the first few days.
It did.
Definitely.
So
It was cool. She was a natural though. It was fine.
we came home, and Ollie was very excited.
He really
we let
was.
him sniff her blanket first and then see her, and he was like crying and he wanted to see her. We put her with the car seat on top of the table, so he was trying
He's
to get
such a
up
good
to
big
her.
brother.
He's such a good big brother. He
He's
really does
amazing
take
with
care
her.
of her.
And she loves him as well. They have such a unique
Yeah,
relationship.
she laughs at him. Remember when you were carrying him the one day, she started laughing at him. Like recently, not when she was a newborn. Yeah, so my granny was here and my cousin was staying with us for like a day,
Super
and my
grateful
gran
for the
stayed with
help.
us for 2 weeks, and she cooked everything, like all the traditional Indian things that you need to eat, whatever.
Yeah.
But I like to
You
eat
were
that.
amazing though. So much of everything came to you naturally, and I don't even think you reflect and look back and like, it was your first baby, and you did extremely well with a lot of the things. Like you were so nurturing, and that maternal instinct was just next level.
Thank you. It wasn't. It was tough. Hey, it was tough. Like emotionally, it was tough because, I just feel like there's so many things that you and I chose to do differently, and not many people understood that viewpoint or whatever it is, and it was hard to navigate that with my hormones being out of sync because I just gave birth, with me recovering, trying to
Yeah.
figure out breastfeeding, trying to figure out this child waking up every 3 hours to feed and change a
Sure.
diaper. It was hard. It was very
difficult.
hard. Like, I'm grateful for the support that we had around us, and yeah, it wasn't the best time in terms of like emotional stuff, but
It definitely did get better.
at some point, I think when you and I like were very firm with our boundaries and our expectations and what we needed from people, then things changed a lot. It was good. I actually want to read something. I made a note the night that she was born, and I haven't
That's
read
sweet.
it until I was prepping for this
I'm
episode.
sure a lot of people are excited to hear this, and they've been waiting. like you said.
A whole year, guys. I'm so
Wow.
sorry. A whole year later.
A whole year.
A whole year. Yeah, so I wrote this. I'll tell you what time. Oh no, did I do? Oh, here we go. Okay. Hey, I hope this thing is appropriate to be read because I haven't read it since I wrote this
Wow.
at 11 minutes past 10 that night she was born. It's about 15 hours after my C-section. I think I was writing this for the website. It's about 15 minutes after my C-section, and my emotions are all over the show. It's so important to win the battle in your mind, so I've been reminding myself of the scriptures I came here with. God has not given me a spirit of fear, but of but of power, love, and a sound mind. God will keep us in perfect peace. God will keep us in perfect peace, those whose minds are steadfast on Him. Then a few, like I remember, there's 3 paragraphs here. I wrote them at different times. It's easier said than done, especially because I feel so useless. There you go. There's an answer to your question. All I can do is feed her, and my milk isn't even sufficient for a full feed as we've been supplementing with formula. Her blood sugar levels are also low because she isn't getting enough milk from me, so we're using formula for this too. My husband, on the other hand, has been phenomenal. He has changed diapers, burped her, changed her clothes, and sees to her all the time because I can barely move with my stitches. I don't remember that. I even told him that I feel like she doesn't know she has a mother, and he assured me that she loves me and knows that I am her mother.
Of course.
I remember
This is the first time
telling
I'm
you that.
hearing you read this back now.
I remember telling you that though,
Wow.
because
That's so
I
special.
feel like
Sweet.
it was hard because all I did was feed her, and it was just, man, looking back now,
Am I making you cry more than the therapist?
we filmed episode 2 before this. I think looking back now, I would have definitely held her a lot more and even kept her in the bed. Like, she didn't need to be in that Tupperware, even if it wasn't to sleep because like scared of rolling over on her or whatever. Okay, then I wrote this on the 30th of August at 1:43 a.m.
Those are wild times.
Ooh, this is a good one. I have snot on my face.
No.
My self-worth is not tied to my business or financial success. That is not who I am.
Wow.
If the season I am in is just for me to be a wife and a mother, I will serve faithfully.
So good.
Being a wife and a mother is a blessing. God will validate me. I don't need validation from anyone else. That was like very specific because I was struggling a lot with not feeling like a good mother because of the other emotional stuff that was going on. Like, I feel like people that I expected to validate me. Are you sure my nose is not leaking?
No, it's not.
Because people that I felt like should have been validating me or saying that I'm doing a good job
Yeah.
kind of like wasn't really into it or there for me when I needed them. Ooh, people have made me feel like a bad wife and mother, and the world says that at this age I should be successful in my career. But if this is the season God has called me to be in, and if I am serving faithfully, then I am successful by His
Sure.
standards, which means more to me than the world's standards and people's
amazing.
approval.
That's so good.
Trevino and Talia are God's children that He has loaned to me. I will work daily to be a great wife and a great mother and serve them both because God put us together.
You should write a book.
And then I have a screenshot of lyrics here where it says, "In the soil I now surrender, you are breaking new ground. So I yield to you in your careful hand. When I trust you, I don't need to understand. Make me your vessel, make me an offering, make me whatever you want me to be."
Wow.
Drops phone. Are you sure my nose is not leaking?
I'm
I feel
sure.
like it's leaking.
No, it's not.
I feel like that went very quickly to talk about such a
It did. We
special thing. Condensed a lot.
condensed a lot.
But I think it was good.
Yeah, it was. Thank you for having me on your
Thank you for being
podcast.
here. Do you want to say anything? Do you want to add anything? Our baby is almost 1. How has it been being a dad?
Phenomenal. Absolutely
Celebrate
phenomenal.
your first Father's Day.
You spoiled me. Talia spoiled me rather.
Yeah, obviously it was Talia. It wasn't
It
me.
was amazing. It's just such a blessing, this journey, and it's amazing. And I wouldn't want to do life with anyone else except you. So I'm grateful for you. I thank God for you, for baby, and
Thank you.
I'm excited for the future.
Right back at you, buddy. I think also one of the things that's very important to make mention of is people always say it takes a village to raise a child, but
Definitely.
I feel like as parents you also need that community, and
Oh yes,
just the way
it's a
our
huge one.
community has changed and shifted, where we have gravitated towards people with kids. And that community, it's so good to have those people around you. Like, you have time with the dads, I have time with the moms, and it's so important to have that community around you. And I feel like that's been something that has really been helpful,
Most definitely,
in the season of being new parents.
Yeah, for sure. Perspective.
And having our parents so nearby also helps us a lot.
Definitely.
Like, when we have things to do, even now, Talia is with my mom because we need to film this podcast.
Yeah.
So it's really helpful having family around. Your brother has been buying us diapers.
Yes.
He said the day that we told him I was pregnant, he's like, how much are diapers? And then
He had no idea.
He's like, okay, I'll buy diapers every month. And we were like, okay,
And he
it's
delivered
expensive.
every single month.
And every single
Buying.
month he's
So
bought us
grateful for them.
diapers.
But a lot of our family members,
Yeah.
like immediate family as well, parents, grandparents, siblings, just grateful for them and how they've blessed Talia,
Yeah.
blessed us with their time, with a lot of things. Just very, very, very grateful.
Yeah. It started off a little bit rocky, but I think you and I have found our feet now, and also have found our voices as parents.
Definitely.
And as the one thing though that I can say is still a work in progress is being a married couple. Like,
Yes.
remembering that we were husband and wife first.
That's for another day podcast episode.
We've only been on one date alone
Yeah.
in
actually,
10
sure.
months. And like you said at group last night, you have to fight for your relationships.
Fight for it.
Fight for your relationship with God. Fight for your relationship with your partner. So I don't know if we're going to fetch Talia straight after this, or if we're going to go on a date. Who knows? Maybe you'll find out on
Thanks
Instagram.
for having me again.
Thank you for
It was
being
amazing.
here. I love you.
Love you too.